Hello everyone. Welcome back to Adobe Live. My name is VooDoo Val, and I'm super excited to be here yet again for another episode of the Adobe Live Design Off. And I'm also here with my new buddy, Nubiart. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, and you?
I'm doing excellent. I'm really excited to kind of jump back into some art with you today. Before we kind of do like a recap of what we worked on and do some more thorough introductions, I would like to give a big shout out to Kyle T. Webster, who was just streaming before us. It's always a pleasure watching you work, sir. I loved I believe he said the longest S curve he has drawn for his show happened today. It was a monumental event, and I was honored to be there for that. So thank you, Kyle, and welcome everyone in chat. I see so many familiar faces. I see Tunk, I see Jack, Richard, Chad, Cornell, Sam. It's good to see you all. Thank you for joining us. So yeah, yesterday, Nubiart and I did a design off that was themed around character portraits and illustration, and we're gonna jump into kind of a recap of what we did yesterday, just in case some of you folks in chat didn't catch the previous episode. But first, Nubiart, why don't you kind of introduce yourself, let everybody know who you are, tell us a bit about what you do, just in case there are some unfamiliar folks in the chat.
So, my name is JL, but I also go by the name Nubiart, and I'm predominantly an illustrator, but I'm also an art director. And the work that I like to do is centered around Black women in particular, and highlighting the struggles that we face, but also celebrating us.
Mm-hmm.
And recently, I've got into illustrating mental health and my experiences with it, and looking at self-care and how I can promote it and make more people aware.
Awesome, awesome. I love it. I think that's excellent work you're doing. And it's also really fabulous just to get to kind of see you create it from the ground up. So I'm going to pop up here and switch over to our dual cam so everyone can see what we're working on. Why don't you go into maybe a little recap of what you did yesterday and maybe some thoughts and plans for what you'd like to get into today?
Yes. So yesterday I started off with a bit of a base, so like the head and the body, and like very basic illustrations of some of the features. And then we decided on like an orange type theme. And someone suggested that I do an African head tie called a gele. So that's what I've been illustrating. And I'm kind of really liking the orange theme, but I want to find a color like blue that really clashes with it. So I'm interested in like experimenting with patterns and clothing and hopefully getting onto some accessories.
Awesome. And I started with just like a basic sketch yesterday, and I kind of did this portrait of a very androgynous character, as was suggested by the chat. And I've kind of sketched out, I think today I'd really like to focus on like adding a cool kind of outfit.
Yeah.
And so I've added a little bit of a sketch just of like a body, but feel free anyone in chat, just like yesterday, to shout out any ideas or suggestions you have for either of our illustrations, because we would love to incorporate some of your ideas into our work. Even though I have like a kind of an outfit sketched out and I have an idea for what would be cool to do, I still would love your input, and I'd like to incorporate any interesting tidbits you guys may have in mind, if possible. So yeah, that's what we worked on yesterday, and I'd also like to point out, if anyone is illustrating along with us, as always, if you folks want to share your illustrations or I mean, you could do graphic design or anything for this, just centered around characters, or if you'd like to interpret the theme as just a theme about people. I know that I think JL, you and I kind of both took like a really interesting approach in that I'm kind of trying to highlight more androgynous, less classical characters, and then you have like a very strong awareness on Black culture and the strength of Black women. So those are really cool themes if you folks maybe aren't illustrators but would like to create something along those lines and share them with us too. Any and all kinds of artwork are welcome, so long as they're safe for work, because I would like to show them off. And if you post to Instagram or Twitter before the end of the stream using this hashtag right here, hashtag Adobe Live Design Off, I'm actually going to pull up social media, take a look at your art, give you a little shout out and a spotlight, and we can all kind of enjoy all the cool stuff that you folks have created. So without further ado, I'm going to jump in, and I think I'm going to start today. I've kind of added text over the top of this character. Like I mentioned yesterday, I wanted to do like a word of some kind across the middle of the painting that changes colors as it interacts with the character. So kind of did like a little mock-up of that. But if anyone has any ideas for outfits, let me know. I think JL, you're using you're jumping into kind of designing outfits as well today, so please send us some ideas. Also, good afternoon, Sukosma. It's good to see you again, my friend. JD in the chat, it's good to see you. And thank you, Sam, for posting the hashtag in Twitter so anyone can copy paste and make sure that they get that hashtag right. I'm only going to be checking the hashtag on social media, so if you only tag one of us in it, I won't show them online, but if you put the hashtag there, I'll be able to scroll through and see all the latest posts for that tag. Let's see. Cornell says, I wonder if I can be a good artist if I can't draw a character without any reference, or even with reference. You know, there was a time, and there even are still times now, where even though predominantly what I do is like character design and portraiture, where I find myself not really being able to come up with an idea, and so I do look for reference and inspiration when I work. And I even just like 3 or 4 years ago, I was very frustrated with myself because I would sit down to create an illustration. I would feel like if I can't come up with like this amazing, groundbreaking composition and awesome painting, then maybe I'm not what I think I am. But I think it's mostly in our heads. What do you think, JL?
100%. Like now I tend to always use a reference, and I'm the type that's kind of a perfectionist.
Mm-hmm.
So I get really like upset with myself if it didn't like look how it's supposed to look, or if it didn't look exactly like the reference. And that's something that over the years I've had to, try and break out of and experiment a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm less harsh on myself. But I feel like anyone could, if you have enough passion and, if you have like a couple of ideas, then you could be great at what you do. So who's to say that anyone's good or bad? Everyone's good in their own rights.
Yeah, I agree. I really
Yeah.
agree. And I've said it many times, and I'll say it again. As creatives, we really can be our own worst critic. We're very
Yeah.
hard on ourselves, and I don't think that. I think that there's artists who are considered very seasoned artists, people that have been working in the industry for a long time, and they really know what they're doing because they have been doing kind of the same thing for so long, or they have like some serious know-how. And so I think it's easy for us to look at how other people create and how quickly they come up with cool concepts and stuff like that, and kind of feel bad about our own work. But everybody starts somewhere, and I think all forms of like creativity, it sometimes takes a while to find your footing and find your voice, and when you do, I don't really think that it's guaranteed to be there and be as easy as 1, 2, 3 every time you sit down to create. So I would say if you're having trouble and you don't feel like you're creating things that are very interesting, or you don't feel like your work has that pop you want it to have, sometimes it's a matter of just looking up what other creatives you do really admire, what they do when they're kind of stuck, or what kind of exercises they do to improve certain points you feel you're lacking. You know, if it's composition, maybe do some composition studies. If it's, you know, anatomy, do some anatomy studies. And it might not feel like you're making a lot of headway, but over time, if you put the effort into it, you set aside the time for those improvements, it will get better.
100% agree.
Keith says, "Hey guys, good to see you again, Keith. Hello. I'm kind of. I think I'd like to take this outfit in. I was telling JL behind the scenes. I saw some really awesome fashion type images of a designer that was taking like traditional forms of clothing from various cultures and then mixing them with like LA streetwear kind of. And I saw this image of a gentleman who was wearing like a very kind of Chinese styled shirt with the straight buttons from the high collar down the front, and then he was wearing it with like uh, Jordans and like these cool like textured pants and like a traditional hat, but he had like sunglasses on and like a cool leather trench coat and stuff like that. And I just thought it was really unique and cool. So I was thinking about kind of mixing that sort of element with something that you guys suggest, and then it would also be cool to kind of try and simulate painting like silk, maybe, you know. So if you guys have any ideas, let me know. I'm gonna just kind of sketch around till I find something I like. How many like when you sit down to create an illustration, JL, how many times do you like attempt like a certain concept? Do you sit down and pretty much like know what you want to do in your head and then keep on it until you achieve that, or do you go through a lot of revisions and ideas when you create a portrait?
Yeah, I go through quite a few ideas because I could have like an idea planned, and once I do it, it's not executed the way I'd like to. So I've often found that, winging it is almost like the best way for me.
Yeah.
Um, just because like when I plan things too much, I kind of lose that creative spark and that interest that I originally had.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, definitely winging it for me.
Yeah, I think a lot of times when I sit down, I have to stop myself from taking a certain, like, unless it's for like a specific job, I have to stop myself from taking a specific idea or concept too seriously. Otherwise, I feel like I'm locked into place, and I generally like to do a lot of exploring and experimentation, like trying a bunch of different things before I'm like, all right, this is it. And I notice if I don't do that experimentation in the beginning and try not to get too precious with my sketches, I always end up disappointing myself.
Same. What are you working on now?
I'm kind of giving him like I've decided that I think my character is male, even though I'm gonna make his face like more traditionally like feminine and lovely. Um,
Yeah.
and so I've got his arms kind of crossed over his chest, and I'm kind of sketching in some folds and wrinkles where his top um, creases, like in the armpits and then like at the elbows and things like that. And then I'm gonna see if I can't decide how else I'm going to design the outfit. I'm not sure what I'm gonna be adding just yet. Val's character is looking like Thranduil. Yo, we got Lord of the Rings fans in the chat. You guys are my family. This is party Thrandy. This is what we can make it Thranduil if we absolutely must. Okay, kinda adding adding a little more length on his hair. And I love the texture that you are adding to this interesting earring you have
I
going on.
know. It's like my signature fringe earring.
I love it. It's like a mix between like fabric fringe and like a pearl.
Yeah,
I think it's really great.
thank you.
You're welcome. And Sadora says, "I'm loving the earring as well." I think we're on the. I think we're like mind connected, Sadora. We are definitely on the same wavelength here because as I thought it and said it, you were typing it. We are one. Sam Peterson says, "And the more you practice fundamentals, the more you can successfully translate those ideas visually." And I definitely agree with that. I think
Yeah,
that's we've had some discussions in the past on like how do you find your style and you know where do all these things come in, and I think you're right, Sam. The closer you can get to being like super familiar and confident with your fundamentals, I think the less stress you have on your mind when you go into a piece because you know how things are supposed to work.
yeah,
You know how stuff is supposed to come together. It's just a matter of using that knowledge to create something you think is cool, I
yeah.
guess. So,
I definitely agree. 100%.
love the look, Val. Definitely nailing the androgynous look. Character has a lot of personality. Thank you. I'm trying to like make him. I was thinking I'm gonna round the chin a little more, but I'm not sure. Just like very slightly. I think maybe. Actually, I think maybe that works. Ooh, we got another layer of fringe added, and that is so good. And blue works so well with orange. They're like a faded pair. They're
Yeah,
just
because
oh.
like complementary colors. I was trying there.
You nailed it.
What's your favorite software to use?
Um, honestly, I've been a Photoshop girl since the beginning of making art. My parents actually, when I was very young, they did like website design and Dreamweaver and graphic design in Photoshop, like in their spare time. And so I kind of grew up watching them use that, and then when I decided I wanted to draw, I did a lot of traditional work at first. I did a lot of like sculpture, ceramics, and stuff, but when I wanted to do like character designs and I started wanting to illustrate original characters and stuff, I was like, I reached for Photoshop instantly, and I've never really turned back.
Yeah, I love Photoshop, but I think my all-time favorite is Illustrator.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good one. It's for me, Illustrator is like I've seen people do like illustrations in Illustrator. For me,
Yeah,
it's like one of the things that I use if I have to create a logo or something, just because I feel
yeah,
confident I can get everything extra crispy,
yeah,
if so to speak, in Illustrator. Um, but I think because I'm like predominantly like a painter, I would say. I always kind of reach for Photoshop because I understand it a lot better and it always has everything that I need. So yeah, Photoshop is
so
my
versatile as
go-to.
well. So versatile.
Yeah, definitely. And the cool thing is, they work so well, like going hand in hand together, that if I really need to jump into one or the other, I can because I can just like transfer anything over to Photoshop that I need if I work in Illustrator and vice versa. So it's kind of cool. They definitely teamwork.
Yeah. Hmm.
Does anybody have any like suggestions for us as far as like colors and stuff to add, because I know that you've kind of like added like this beautiful blue, but I also know you mentioned you were looking for suggestions maybe for like patterns and stuff once you get into patterns. So
Yeah.
maybe people have like color and pattern suggestions in the chat they might want to share, because I'm getting ready here, I think, to dive into it.
Yeah.
I might actually leave a lot of this pretty vague too, in favor of um, kind of spending more time on the color aspect of the piece too. So I know that it's also part of this is like me being slightly lazy. Like as soon as I get to a point where I'm like, oh, coming up on the deadline, better not finish certain things in favor of painting my favorite stuff. But I think I'm gonna leave a lot of the sketchy like arms and things. I'm gonna leave those pretty basic and kind of favor painting the face and adding some cool textures with the material of the jacket and so on. Give him like a fur collar. He has like a giant like winter is coming collar for no reason. He's very Jon Snow right now. Purple a la Prince. I love the way you think, Chad. I will definitely be adding some purple. Okay, I'm gonna choose a background color. I kind of so we had like orange and gold suggestions yesterday, right?
Yeah.
So I might do like a cool gold background with some texture, and then kind of add some purple. Like I could make his trench coat like a dark Joker purple. Could be interesting. Let's see. And I'm gonna select around here. So I don't know if you use clipping masks, but I'm getting ready to dive into some clipping masks right now, and it's like my favorite thing for like working on portraits and things, especially when I'm going to be separating them from their background pretty starkly. So I make like a selection around my character, and I create a like a shape in the shape of my character, and then I put it underneath all of my sketch layers and painting layers, and then do a clipping mask of all of my sketches to that shape, so then nothing goes out of the borders of where I want the character. And it's been pretty useful.
I love doing that for shading as well.
Yeah.
That's what I've been doing for the face.
Let me see if I can change this color. I'm gonna bump it to, there we go, boom. And then move this up. Can I make a group of clipping mask? No, let me, oops. I'm going to open and ungroup all this stuff. And then I'm going to make all of these clipping masks. Booyah! Now you're giving me a David Bowie vibe. Also cool though, because David Bowie is like a very androgynous kind of character, right?
Yeah.
And somebody was saying, like, mentioning the Goblin King Jareth yesterday, which is, that's Bowie, right? Pretty sure that's Bowie, from the Labyrinth. So yeah, definitely like extra long, fancy, long-haired man vibe going on here. Very like magical prince with impossibly long legs for no reason kind of character here. Your character kind of looks like a necromancer from Diablo 3. That is really cool because, and it's funny you say that because now I've realized I've given him the female necromancer's hairstyle from Diablo 3. That works. Oh, those lips. Oh no, it's starting to look so good. I love it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I think you did that like separating line so perfect too, because it's like just such a lovely mouth shape. I'm so into it. Alright, how about some color, y'all? Let's do this thing. I'm gonna. I think okay. So somebody's saying adding some like bluish and reddish colors would be cool. And you've got kind of a blue. I might use like a similar blue by request from Cornell. And then I could also do um, like some purple mixed with reds, you know, for the
Ooh,
jacket. So let's see. I'm gonna grab like this kind of reddish color, and I'm gonna paint in some stuff. I really like using the darken blend mode and like multiply blend mode for this sort of thing, because I like being able to paint in such a way that allows me to just make like the highlights or the shadows fade into another color.
yeah.
Another way that's really cool to do that is I like if I paint everything in grayscale so I get like the shadows and stuff looking really, really good. Then I can come in with a gradient map and kind of do it that way too, which is really fun to
I
kind
love
of just
that.
like select a color palette and then immediately just apply it in that kind of way.
I've never thought of that. You're teaching me so many new things that I'm actually going to use.
I know that that's the beauty of like getting to do this too though, is that I'm always like working with different people and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm just going to do this and this and this." And sometimes I'm like, "Whoa, go
Yeah.
back, do that again, save my life with this new tool that I've never known about ever before." Help me. Okay. I'm gonna hide my text for now so I don't get too caught up in it. I'm so bad at that. Where I have like a concept and what I should do sometimes is like hide that concept so that I can work on what I'm doing like separately so that I can focus on what I'm making, but instead I'm looking at all of it at the same time and overwhelming myself. Do you ever do that with like details in your
All
work?
the time. All
It
the
makes me
time.
so mad. And I know it too. I know that I do it, and I still do it every time. And I'm like, why have you not learned your lesson? Okay. Also, quick reminder to anyone who's hanging out with us in the chat and maybe creating some cool artwork. I am going to take a look at social media in maybe like 15 to 20 minutes and just check out any pieces of artwork that you guys have created according to our theme. So if you guys are working along with us, definitely start thinking about tying it up. It doesn't have to be finished. I like to kind of reiterate that every week. If you're creating with us, your work does not have to be finished. I do these shows just about every week, and I don't always finish mine every time too, because we're kind of designing on the fly, right? And
Yeah.
we're kind of collaborating with each other and with the chat, and it's just really kind of a fun exercise to do. But you do not have to be stressed out about trying to present us with a perfect, totally detailed, rendered out piece of artwork. We just kind of want to see what you guys are working on and what you're doing, and give you a shout out and a thank you for participating and working with us. So no stress. Another clipping mask. Do some highlights. Get that shine going on. So, do you have like any plans for upcoming projects and stuff we might wanna know about and keep track of? Like, are you working on any personal projects at the moment, or do you have any cool, interesting things you might like to announce for us to keep an eye out for coming up?
So I'm currently working on some, body positivity images,
Nice.
and I was previously doing like an Instagram live series called The Safe Space, where I was just talking about like all aspects of mental health. And
Nice.
I kind of started it just before the Black Lives Matter movement um, like came back in on their platform,
Yeah.
and like everything was going on. So it tied in quite nicely because there were a lot of people that were kind of like traumatized from certain things that have happened to them in the past. So
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted to like make sure that there is a place for them to also talk as well. And it was really centered about people just sharing and being comfortable. So
Nice.
I really want to do like a series where I talk about like body positivity, um, particularly from a culture a perspective. So coming from like an African background, my parents are Nigerian.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's a lot of how do I say it? There's a lot of pressure to be a certain size,
Mm-hmm.
and let's say you put on a bit of weight, people aren't afraid to call you out on it. So I really wanted to like highlight and make sure that people are aware that regardless of what anyone else is saying, as long as you love you, that's the most important thing.
I love that. I love that. So you're kind of doing that as like a live series on Instagram Live?
Yeah, and then I'm gonna
Awesome.
kind of coincide with some illustrations that kind of tell the story of like self-love and looking within and making sure that your love within will transform outside.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome. Well, and that's on your, what is your Instagram handle again? We can get that in the chat, and then everyone can give you a follow and check it out.
At Nubiart UK.
Awesome. So yeah, guys, definitely check out her Instagram and stay posted on that. Claudie from Print My Soul is in the chat. Claudie is wonderful. It's good to see you. I'm glad that you're here to hang out. Says I was on a YouTube checking out iPad spec videos and I see these ladies on the stream. I had to join. Oh, I'm so excited that you're here. Thank you for stopping in.
Thank you.
Okay. Now I'm going to add some purple highlights. Time for the purple! That Prince purple. Use some blending modes to get some serious magic going on in here. Thank you, Sam, for posting the Instagram. I appreciate it, my friend. So now all of you folks can check out JL, aka Newbie Art, on the gram. That's what the cool kids are saying. I'm pretty sure. Sam and I have had a talk about this. We're pretty. If Sam says the gram, then it's definitely what the cool kids are saying. So I'm confident in my hip swagger on the live stream. I feel like I can say it. So that's. That's and if it's not what the cool kids are saying, just lie to me because I don't I don't have any other cool words. I'm gonna make this darker. Okay. Hmm. Actually, what I might do is I'm kind of like trying to find a way to transform this jacket into something that's like a little more, instead of it, I do a real I'm really bad at like painting the face and painting the hair and painting the clothes, and I have the same
Yeah,
technique for painting all of it so it looks like it's made from the same material.
yeah.
And sometimes it's okay because it just makes my characters look like they're wearing really satiny smooth clothes, but sometimes it makes it look like my character's face is leather. It's not good. So I'm trying not to do that. Sam says, Sam says, I make my living as a cool consultant. This one was free. Thank you, Sam, for allowing us to. You are correct, Val. Very cool. Awesome. Good. Okay. Sam's stamp of approval is on the gram. So as long as I got that, I know that I'm in. I'm the in crowd. Okay. That could work. I don't know if I wanted that red. Do some experimenting. Normal. Bump this up a little bit. I love the plant life and kind of designs you are putting in the back. That is so
I'm
cool.
just winging it.
And well, it looks really like very natural too, and the green works super well with the orange for the gele, so that is awesome.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
What are you working on now?
I am trying to find a good way to fit in some purple to this jacket. And what I might actually end up doing is what I mentioned before, which is instead of kind of painting the jacket up and trying to like paint in different colors, I think what I might do actually is add a I'm gonna group everything together, and I'm gonna duplicate that group and merge it into just kind of flatten it. And then I am going to go up to image, adjustments, and gradient map, and I'm gonna find a gradient map that I like. I think I'm gonna come in here to like purples and see if there's a purpley red sort of, maybe. And I'm gonna see if I can't wing it, as the cool kids say. I'm gonna see if I can come up with a cool gradient to add in here. And I don't think it's working. I think what I need to do is I'm gonna come into levels, and I'm gonna kind of bump up the levels to make it a little more dramatic.
Yeah.
So that I get like a really nice variation. And then I kind of like erase everything that I don't want to show, because it is on a duplicated version of itself, so I can like change the color of the jacket and everything looks super cool, and then I can like remove the parts that I don't want to have that gradient map on it, essentially. Let's see.
Good.
You know what I wish there was?
What?
Is when I come into the gradient maps for Photoshop, I always want to preview them in reverse, because you can like apply a gradient map and then you can like you select it and you're like, okay, this is what I want, and then before you accept it and say this is you know the one that I'm choosing, that I'm using for sure, you can hit the reverse button, and it'll reverse itself at the end. But I would love to be able to toggle back and forth between reverse and regular while I'm selecting through all of them, so I know which one will work, so I don't have to select one, apply it, reverse it, realize I hate it, and then go back. You know?
Yeah. Oh, I hate when that happens. You do something that's irreversible, and then you're like, oh my gosh, why did I do this?
Yeah, and then I'm like, now I have to get back in here. And it's like, I guess it's not like a super big hassle, because the simple fact that I can use the gradient tool at all is actually pretty great. So maybe I'm spoiled, but I would love to be able to preview stuff more easily when deciding which one I'm gonna do. There we go. Kind of getting it. And then sometimes what I do is I don't necessarily use the exact colors I choose for that particular gradient, because maybe it looks cool and applying certain colors allows me to kind of visualize it a little more, but I may also apply this gradient map and then jump into like hue and saturation and start flipping stuff around,
Yeah.
which could also work. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna apply this for now. I'm gonna say, oops, yeah, I made like a new. You can also make like a new gradient preset if you come up with some colors that you really like. So I'm gonna say new, and I'm gonna say okay and apply, and then I am going to select around all the stuff that I really don't want. Dun, 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 with my magic lasso. And I'm gonna cut it out so we just have all of the other good stuff that I want showing. Let's see, I'm gonna scroll through here and make sure I'm not missing any comments. See Sam telling me that I'm still very cool and hip. Thank you very much, I appreciate it. Are you going for purple iridescence, or what about that text in purple? That would be cool too. I'm actually, now that because I actually totally forgot I have text on this. So, yeah, it would be good to kind of figure out what color the text is going to be. I was thinking, since I am adding a lot of color, that I can instead of making the text a color, I can just do like a really stark black and white kind of thing, and then add a texture onto it, because that actually looks pretty good across there. So we'll see how that goes. Erase, and then I'm gonna add some soft color. I'm pretty close to done, I think. And oh my goodness, I love the stripe of like lighter green color that you've got going on those leaves.
Yeah.
Oof, it's looking good.
Blend it out a bit when I finish.
I actually think I'm gonna leave it like this. I think I'm good with that. What I am gonna do is choose a color for the clothes underneath, because his long top is kind of showing. I might make it like a charcoal, like a charcoaly gray, since his jacket is pretty darn vibrant. Let's see how that works. And then we are coming up pretty soon on when we're going to be checking out any of your submissions and illustrations, if anyone has posted some. And if by chance you are working on some things, but you would prefer to post it after you've worked on it longer, I always, anytime anyone posts stuff during the week after the show is over, excuse me, I do always check the hashtag periodically, so that even if I miss one because it's not posted during the broadcast, I can always come back, retweet it, and then I typically show it off on the next week's stream, because I know for sure that we do have one illustration to show today that was from last week that someone finished during the week, so we're going to take a look at that, and then we can check any other things that were posted for this week if we get any. I wish I could be like the cool kids, because Keith is just posting lyrics in the chat. I love it. Now I'm gonna have to listen to that song when the stream ends, because I do really like that song. It's very It's pretty well done. Do like some soft color, and then I'm gonna fade his hair down to a goldish color. Put like subtle gold. Kind of let it blend in. And then I think the last thing I'm going to do is add a texture. I kind of plan to have a lot more time to do textures today.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I'm really going to get into doing a lot of them. So I have like a go-to texture that I love using, and I'm just going to kind of put it over the top of the background just to kind of give it a little pizzazz.
Ooh. I'm thoroughly enjoying this.
Me too.
Photoshop to paint.
It's literally my favorite thing in the whole world. Just being able to jump in and paint something up real quick, and not have to go out and buy oils and acrylics. It's pretty nifty. Okay. Go. And I'm gonna put a soft color on my little fur. Ooh, that purple. Oh man. Oh, that all of it. Like I was gonna say, oh that one. No, oh that one, because they all look so cool.
Just literally tapping through colors.
Yeah, just going through. I might actually do. I imagined like his like fur cloak thingy, his winter is coming collar that I put on him. I kind of imagined that it would be like light colored, but I might end up actually making it darker. Let's see. Or actually, this kind of like weird green is interesting. Kind of erase around here, and then I'll put my texture on. Last call for, well, not last call, but I would say maybe final reminder for anyone who wants to have their art pieces viewed on stream to post, because in maybe 2 or 3 minutes I'm going to pull it up, and then we're going to start saying our goodbyes. So now is the time, folks. As soon as I drop my little texture in here, we'll get this show on the road. Okay, how about a texture? Let's do it. Oops. There we go. And I'm sure no one's ever seen me use this texture ever before on Adobe Live. That is a bold-faced lie. This is the same one I use every time I paint here. This is this is the exact one that I put in every single thing, and I know that it's wrong, but it's my favorite, and at this point I don't think anyone can stop me from doing it, so I'm gonna use my favorite thing. If I am allowed to post the dinosaur. Yeah, I actually have the dinosaur that you did, Keith, that I think you posted. Let me see. Oh, actually, you said you didn't post it to social media. You posted it to. Oh no, you did. You did add this to Instagram. Okay, I will pull this up. We will show this, because I think this is a more finished version on Behance. So I will make sure to show that off for sure. And I might do one more texture over the top of my text. But while I'm doing that, I'm gonna full screen yours so you can kind of do like a little recap of what you worked on. We've got a handful of minutes, so why don't you show that off in like a minute or so while I pull everything up so that I can show off everyone else's work that worked along with us.
Yeah.
Okay. Boom. Boom. All right, I'm gonna pull up the social media, and that is looking so beautiful, JL. I love the color that you have chosen for
Thank
everything. It's looking so fabulous.
Thank you.
And I am finished as well. I'm gonna pull up my Twitter. Boom, boom. So I can get this going. We've got just a few minutes left.
I'm gonna draw one last plant in the back.
Okay. I'm gonna refresh just to make sure and see if we got any new stuff. Awesome. We did. Oh, yay. I'm so excited. Let me refresh Instagram and then we're gonna take a look at these. Okay. So, I'm also going to drag the Behance over here so that we can show off Keith's dinosaur. So I'm going to flip over here. So this is, and you will probably have to either wait for the delay or check out the VOD to check out everything, because I don't think that you're able to have both of the screens up for the stream. But I've got Keith's dinosaur here. He's illustrated a T-Rex playing video games and drinking soda. So I'm loving it. I think it looks really awesome. Thank you very much. We also got kind of a more like beginning sketch of it here on Instagram, which I really appreciate. And then if I pop over to Twitter, we have another one from Wreckman, says thank you for the stream, guys. It was fun. And he's got like this really cool character that looks like it's designed after a fried egg, and I'm loving it. And then one from Chad, it says another Adobe Live design off with VooDoo Val. Sketched out my girl, and I love it. This is beautiful. Thank you guys so much for the epic portraits. These are so much fun. So if you guys can, give Chad and Rec and Keith a follow online, check out their awesome work and give them some support. I love it. And then I'm gonna screen us up here so that we can kind of show off the final thing, because we got about 2 minutes before we have to say adios. So let me do my little full screen here. Cancel. There we go. So this is my piece, and I've kind of got, I think I might mess with the colors a little bit more, but I've got kind of an interesting thing going with like the texture background and like the jacket and stuff, but I'm pretty pleased about it. And then yours is looking so cool. The subtleness of that light color on the leaves is so rad. I love it. I'm gonna pop us over to our full screen, and real quick, last minute before you guys take off from the chat, before JL and I leave, the best place to find me online after this is Instagram and Twitter, where I'm VooDoo.Val over on Instagram and VooDoo_Val over on Twitter. And where's the best place to find you, JL?
On Instagram at Nubiart UK.
Awesome. And you've got that really wonderful safe space kind of body positivity project that we can all check out, kind of stay tuned in to on there. So nobody missed that. Everyone go check her out, give her a follow, give her some support. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to stream and create with you today, JL. It's been a blast, and thank you everyone in chat. Love you folks as always, and I will see ya another time. Adios, everybody. Bye.